Disclaimer. The hosts of this podcast, Timothy Patrick and Will Foley, are by no means medical professionals. However, having lived experience with mental illness themselves, they have gained useful perspectives on common mental health issues that some of us struggle to overcome on a daily basis. By sharing their stories, they hope to create connection. By creating connection, they hope to help you find your purpose. And through purpose, we can all begin to build the foundation for positive mental health. This is Above Ground Podcast.
Are you ready to lace up your boots, throw up your horns, and jump into the pit? Then let's stomp the stigmas of mental illness. It's time for Above Ground Podcast. Now, Will Foley and Timothy Patrick.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Above Ground Podcast, episode 95. Wow, 95, man. 95 in the hole. All right. Coming up quick on that century mark. Looking forward to it. Timmy and I have been meeting to figure out what we're doing. We're going to have some fun with it, though. It'll be fun. You know what else is fun? It's getting to be t-shirt weather. And you know what that means? That means you can support your favorite podcast about mental health, Above Ground Podcast, by buying one of our cool t-shirts or hoodies, man, at closeknitco.com. That's right. Help a brother out. Help a couple brothers out. Help a few brothers out and a sister. You know, all of it. Help them out. Help us out. Help us. Help you. That's right. Support. Collab-X. Go there. Order a t-shirt. We appreciate it. Dan and Natalie appreciate it too. So thank you. So now, without further ado, this week, man, Reluctant Hero.
Hey, how you doing out there, podcast listeners?
Hi.
Hey, cool. It's Above Ground Podcast, cool. What's up, Timmy?
What's up, Will?
What's going on, buddy? Are you down with TPP?
Yeah, you know me.
Timmy.
How you doing this week, Will?
Dude, I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right.
Doing all right?
Yeah, you know.
All right.
I'm a little reluctant.
You're a little reluctant, huh?
Yeah, a little reluctant, you know.
What are you reluctant about?
Being a hero.
Yeah?
Yeah, being a hero in my own story, man. That seems to come with a whole lot of pressure.
It does.
Under
I get it, though,
pressure.
when you wake up tired and you just wake up tired of being strong. And you're tired of being the one to carry other people, and you're unsure, and starts to eat away at your self-worth, and that whole downfall of snowballing that follows.
It's a fucking avalanche, man.
Avalanche, yeah.
It is. It's an avalanche of epic proportions.
Epic proportions. You heard it here. Epic proportions. Yeah. Getting overwhelmed, is always a bad thing for me, but it's always a key in this whole process. I think, with all the work that you put in, all the skills you use during the day, I think there's something to say about self-care.
Yeah, definitely. There's something to be said about self-care.
You need a break. Even heroes need a break.
I don't know if, and not all heroes wear capes.
Not all heroes wear capes.
I don't know if there's enough self-care, though, to make you feel like a hero. And
well,
maybe
everybody's definition of hero is different. That's all. Maybe somebody's definition of hero is just, maybe having a conversation with somebody throughout a day and making it home safe. That's, I think the perception of a hero can be off. You know what I mean? We're all ingrained with a hero's got to wear a cape and fly and shoot laser beams out of its frickin' head and
Wow. Frickin' laser beams.
Yeah, that's right. I tried to like combine Superman and Austin Powers and
Super Austin
with powers.
That's right. Did you imagine that?
Yeah, I can.
Now, that was a reluctant hero. He didn't want to be a hero. He didn't.
Right.
He just wanted to.
He didn't want to be a
shag,
hero.
man.
He just wanted to shag. He just wanted to rest, recharge, shag.
Yep.
Have some drinks. He knew that self-care wasn't selfish, though. He knew it. He knew it was smart, and it's not selfish. He took time to, to trim his nose hair and to,
He didn't trim that chest hair, though.
Didn't trim that chest hair. No, he shampooed and conditioned it.
That's true. Yeah, it looks like a perfect rug.
Do you ever get like scared at trying to attempt something new?
Every time I try something new.
Right. So you don't attempt it. So you just you're reluctant. So you just kind of go around it.
Yeah.
You know?
Oftentimes, there's been a lot of those things.
Which could suck because you could be good at it and you don't know.
That's right. And you get stuck in the place that you don't want to be. And what
do you think what are some variables in that for you?
Comfort is a big variable. Because if you're comfortable somewhere, you can make yourself feel that it's right to not deal with it.
Right.
And I'm truthfully going through that. I've been going through that now for the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do.
Flailing around.
I mean, comfort is a nice, cozy place, but it's also where dreams go to die.
That's true. It is. And comfort only keeps you so long, man, until it's uncomfortable.
Right.
Because it does really lead into discomfort.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's more discomfort. Sometimes it's more uncomfortable to keep doing the same thing.
It's like, it's like sometimes it's less painful to let go than to hold on kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And
actually you don't ever know what you're going to get from letting go.
Right.
It may empower
But the anxiety
everything.
monster comes in and says, well, if you let go, this could happen. But this could happen if this, and then if you wait to let go, this could happen.
Well, I think the anxiety monster turns into the you're not strong enough, you're not good enough. The hero goes out the window and hides in the bathtub.
Bathtub.
It does. Hides in the bathtub behind the shower curtain.
Little
going,
bubble bath.
I don't want to go.
Some days you just want to throw in the towel, man. Just like we're just like Rocky's Corner. Throw in the damn towel.
Cut me, Mick. Cut me. Sometimes you need to be cut.
Sometimes you need to be cut.
Sometimes you need to get cut to see.
Right. You need to cut things loose because you need to get cut to make room for other things that could be more beneficial.
That's true. And that's all part of being. See, I like how when we started talking about hero, how you premise that, because what we look at in culture as heroes are like people that are stars or athletes or yes, we can look at our first responders as heroes or military people. Yes.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? So we have those heroes, but those aren't the heroes that we elevate.
Right.
And I tend to think that as heroes, they only become elevated when agendas are involved. I think that there's a big, we're like, so we don't necessarily look at people just being able to get up, strap their shoes on, and get out of bed and trudge downstairs to make a cup of coffee to go to a job they hate as a hero.
Right.
Because there's nothing glamorous about it. Yet that person could be experiencing, one of a million things in their minds. They could be, they could be depressed. They could be sick. They could but we don't look at that as heroic, as just getting up and facing the day and saying, you know what, I got to go do it. We don't look at that as heroic.
Right.
It needs to be this great.
But I think the light needs to be shined on that. I think more, I hate to use the word, it needs to be more mainstream. I hate to use that word, but, I just think it needs to be more prevalent in the culture, To
make their heroic everyday people.
Well, yeah, but to be heroic, I look at certain people to be, I look at people that can actually, go through a day and and genuinely be honest and have integrity and smile and just do like little random acts of kindness and hold a door for somebody and just bottom line, not be an asshole. Like sometimes that's a hero to me. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, that's heroic these days, not being an asshole.
Yeah, but it is. It's like the world is a crazy, fast-paced, shithole some days.
Well, it's a shit show for sure.
You know what I mean? And it's like, instead of people letting all these outer fixtures get into our insides and then turn it into anger or whatever, I think that's a strong attribute.
Yeah, that's absolutely. It's a strong attribute.
But
it's also a muscle that takes repetitive use.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but I think that's why I look at it. I can identify it and go, wow, because I know what it takes to be able to do that. I know the strength and the discipline that can go into that. I mean, some people it just happens naturally and they're just like that, which is great. Kudos to them,
but are they really though?
I don't know.
Or is it an act? To some people,
I think it's an act for some people that again have an agenda or bring it and do it on screen or take pictures of themselves while they do it. But to the person that the hidden hero that just does it silently, like that doesn't give a shit about anybody else's opinions, that just does it because they want to do it. Yeah, I think that's they're legit.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool. I can get behind that hero.
Genuine.
Yeah, genuineness. Genuine. Yeah. No, I get it. I totally get it. Heroes come in all shapes and sizes.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And I think we got this from the band Killer Be Killed, which happens to be a fucking powerhouse on its own. If you've never heard of them, go check them out. Max Cavalier and Troy from Mastodon.
Yeah, I love this song.
Is it the
it's
dude
great.
from Converge? Is that the
That's the drummer.
That's the drummer.
Yeah, Dillinger Escape Plan.
Oh, Dillinger Escape Plan. That's right.
Greg. Yeah.
Yeah. What a killer album that this song title inspired this episode, because it's kind of ironic that in the mental wellness space, mental illness space, whatever you want to say, that we look at heroes and we look at the reluctancy of being a hero on your own journey. And Joseph Campbell talked about the hero's journey. And when you really think about the hero's journey, there's always reluctancy on the part of the hero, man. That's part of the path, because you're going to be filled with doubt. You're going to be filled with,
because there's always a tragedy, or there's always there's always that something, there's always that piece to it, that trial.
There's always a trial that starts the journey, because you have to have a trial. And I think you become the hero when you overcome that trial.
Right.
But there's no Valhalla at the end of it. It's really about just getting to the next trial and taking it on. But with every trial that you overcome, you build up the muscle to take on the next one and take on the next one, man.
Which, as we know, that whole bumping the notch of worth up, that's a big deal, and it can do wonders, to the next time around. And then, like I said earlier on, do you not attempt something new because you're scared, that you might, mess it up, or you're just, it's fear of the unknown kind of thing. I think by going through a trial and overcoming that can help that process, to do it again.
Absolutely it can, because
resilience, strength.
And it also can give you a roadmap.
Sure.
And now every trial is going to be different, obviously.
Yeah,
and
but
some of them are going to be more taxing than others. But it can give you a roadmap to say, okay, it may take me longer to take this trail, but this trail of trial is going to lead to a different place. And there's going to be canyons and holes and stuff, but
and shadows.
And shadows for sure. Yeah, no shit. We like to talk about the shadow. The shadow holds, and you know, and it's funny because I think that the shadow holds a lot of power for the hero.
Sure.
Because I think
that's where some of the power comes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, at least I think so. I don't know if that, you know.
Yeah, I don't either, but that's what that's my perception of it.
I don't know what
Young.
I don't know what Young or Campbell. I'm a little bit out of the Campbell loop because about 4 months I was ingesting everything Joseph Campbell, and then I kind of stopped, and I realized I kind of stopped ingesting stuff just as I kind of hit a wall myself, and I don't necessarily know if when I hit walls, if it's that I stop doing the things that help just because I'm hitting the wall, or if I hit the wall because I stop doing the things that I do. So I'm reluctant to even start again oftentimes because I'm just afraid I'm going to end up in the same spot over and over again. And when your GPS system hasn't been updated, and you're still using the random McNally friggin' outdated map that doesn't show the new roads that they've just built in this new development that you're trying to get out of, how are you gonna?
But I think that's where the strength and resilience can help that process. You know, maybe you'll just be like, screw it, I don't need the GPS. I'm just gonna move forward one step in and not worrying about, you know, take that jump and not worrying about landing. You know, just be like, I'm gonna land, but I'm not sure exactly where I'm gonna land.
Well, that's reluctancy right there. That's like, you know, that's a good jumping off point.
Sure. Yeah.
To start the journey at least. And sometimes I think sometimes you don't even realize that you've started the journey. Like I don't even know if you can recognize that you've started a journey if you're stuck in a pit. Do you think you can see it?
That's a great question. I don't know. I mean, I think if you are aware of starting the journey itself, if you're aware of the journey and you're aware of when you start it, I would think that you would be aware if you get stuck, but I could be wrong. But if you, like you said, you may not even know you're on this journey, or you're not, you know, you started on this trail, and you may not realize it that there's trials coming up, and in that case, yeah, you could get stuck. You know, you could be in that cave walking through, but you're actually just circling around in a circle, and you're like, wait a minute, have I been here before? No, let's just keep going. And
that high-row looks the same. That hieroglyphic was there last time I passed here.
Right. You know?
Do you think... So, now what I'm wondering is, though... I'm thinking back to Star Wars. Mm-hmm. And I'm using Star Wars because it's a point of reference that you and I both have, but it's also a point of reference for the hero's journey.
Sure.
Because as we know that Lucas wrote a lot of that stuff based around that.
Yeah.
And so, what I'm wondering is because when you take Luke Skywalker, okay, Luke wanted to be going off with his friends to be to be in the war against the Empire. He wanted to in the first one. And then when we get to Empire and he has to confront the Force and what he's going to do with it, or the fact that he may be a Jedi himself, he's very reluctant to take on the part of him that needs to be taken on.
He's got some self-doubt.
He's got some self-doubt.
Sure.
So do you think self-doubt is always part of the reluctant hero's journey?
Yeah. I mean, I if you're talking about like a reluctant hero, I would say yeah. You know. But yeah, I bet you if you go through like a story of the hero's journey, the same thing, you're going to have. Because I think that's just kind of how the path is laid. I think there's certain steps, you know?
And it always starts with a call to adventure. The hero's journey does, but unless you look at something as an adventure, like, when do you start looking at something as an adventure as opposed to a trial?
Well, I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think perception is everything. If you start to look at it as more an adventure, then it will definitely be less suffering on the trip, for sure. I think that's just, and that's some of the stuff that I always try to say when people, it's more of a language thing, but it's something that people always say, I have depression, or I can't do that because I've got trauma. And I'm like, no. You live with mental illness. Okay, so let's start there, because if you have that, again, if you have that perception, you're already telling yourself you can't do it because you have depression.
Right.
Which is false. You know what I mean? Which is false, because you have the fire in you already. You have the force in you already. You may need some little midget swamp dude to come out and like reinforce it.
Don't call Yoda a midget swamp dude. You bastard.
I didn't want to get sued.
Dude, nobody listens anyway. So
I know.
It's just us. We're doing this for ourselves. Remember, we're the heroes here.
Yes, we are the heroes.
We're the heroes. Yes.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of perception again. It's, let's say Alan Watts, maybe this is not what he meant by it, but, when he had that quote, that, when you do what the gods made for fun and you call it work or whatever kind of thing, it's like you're looking at it in a different, in a different light. Instead of saying, let's go on an adventure, you're like, I gotta walk this painful, steep hill. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But if you're like, let's try this, man. Let's go down this path. Maybe you can whistle a little bit and skip.
True. And when you start this, so we'll look at the hero's journey a little bit. So the very first step in the hero's journey is the ordinary world part, which is where you're just living your life, going through it. You're living your workaday life, whatever your daily life is. And that usually is where everybody starts. We all start at that bottom. And then all of a sudden, you are thrust into a call to adventure.
Thrust.
Yeah, well, thrust, Hey, some of that language is good. Thrust. Sounds like it would be a good name for a band. Thrust.
I think there is a band.
I think there is too, for some reason.
What's after thrusting into?
The call to adventure, and then there's the refusal of the call. And that is
the reluctant
reluctant hero right there, man. That is the guy who says, I can't do this. How am I going to do this? How am I going to make that happen? How am I going to do this when I got to get the kids to soccer practice? I got to get to work. The boss needs an Excel file.
Which a lot of that is just your anxiety.
Sure it is. And a lot of it is, now granted, a lot of it is the workaday life.
Oh,
that so many people stay stuck in because they're afraid, or it's comfortable.
It's comfortable. They may not know how to make a boundary, to set a boundary and hold the boundary.
Right, exactly.
Which you can go back, because we had an episode on boundaries.
Yeah, we did. Not that long ago, we did an episode on boundaries. And I think actually to set boundaries, you're being a hero in your own life. Man.
Absolutely.
That's like that's like Batman shit right there, man. You know what I mean?
Because you got to guard that boundary some days, The
refusal of the call, though, is huge because, and we look at and not just Star Wars, but you look at the story of Rocky. Like you look at Rocky Balboa. In the beginning of the movie, he's just a schlub boxer. He's working for a leg breaker. He's not. He's kind of foregone his true talent because he got stuck in this repetitious path that
maybe
he was
he
on.
thought that's all that he was worth too.
And he did. And it's proven to me in that great line where he says, "I just want to go the distance." And that to me, and I just got chills saying it. And that to me is the best line of the movie. And that is, beyond the going the distance at the end in the most far-fetched fight of ever, which is every Rocky movie, that you've got your head kicked in that much that you would still be standing up at the end. But,
went the distance,
but I
though.
digress. But I went the distance, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, you go, going the distance that is being the hero, man. You may have been reluctant, but you make it.
And and even just going your distance, whatever you know what I mean? Like setting, your distance could be just to make it through the day of soccer practice and getting through work,
Sure.
without punching somebody in the throat.
And generally, after the refusal of the call is when you meet your mentor. It's that refusal of the call that I think personally brings up something that you just cannot ignore. With Luke, he could not ignore Yoda.
No, dude wouldn't shut up in his head.
That's true. That's true. Or in his headphones. And it's in that mentor that you gain some knowledge, some perspective, and you gain strength. And I think, like for Rocky it was Mickey, and Mickey finally, saying to him that, that he was good enough and that he needed to pursue this. Because
So is it the reluctant hero that makes the call to find the mentor? Does he send it out into the universe, or
I think in my opinion, I think if you have something that's strong and you have that much of an aversion to it, it's something you need. And like in my own personal life, you know what I mean? We've all been on journeys. We've all been on heroes' journeys. And if it wasn't for our own personal heroes' journeys, we wouldn't be sitting here across from one another.
right?
Right.
Right.
But I know when I've refused the call. I know, and then you meet people along the way that, they may not be your mentor where they're constantly working with you, but you meet people that start to put it in your mind that, oh, wait a second. See, that person was just put there because it's the sign that I should be moving on. I should be moving into that direction. You may not, I don't necessarily know if you have to go as far as to study under that person.
Let me ask you this really quick. Do you think so? What if you are always the mentor? Do you get a mentor at some point, or do you just stay the mentor?
I don't think we're ever just the mentor.
Okay.
I think we can be mentors after we've been through our own journeys in ways, just
Sure.
like us. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
I like to look at us as and we said it in our little descriptions of ourselves. You said I was the ambassador. We said I was the ambassador of hope. I'd like to change that to the curator of hope.
The curator.
The curator of hope, because it's not like I don't represent hope, but I can represent a piece of hope that says, if I can do it, you can do it. And then if you do it, then you have to pass it on to somebody else. But I don't necessarily know. I think once you're a mentor, you will always be brought back as a mentor. But I don't think that you're only a mentor.
Gotcha. I see what you're saying.
And then once you cross the first threshold, which is that first part, and that's the end of the first part. That's the end of the departure on the hero's journey.
Right.
Which crossing the threshold is saying, okay, I'm committed. I remember when we first came here to start recording episodes. That was the point where we made the decision right then and there that this was going to go. Even though we tried a couple of things, we had tried to record some episodes
in your
prior. Car. We did the car thing, and then we did the apartment. We did your apartment thing. That didn't seem to work out very well. We didn't get very good. So, and then we had Will as the mentor because Will took us in to help with us.
Obi Will Kenobi.
And then, of course, after you've accepted the journey, there's the test, the allies, and the enemies. And see, that's where I think a lot of us like that's
Can get lost in the shadow.
we can get lost in the shadow, man, because you know the tests come and. You know, there's no studying for a lot of these tests.
Right.
It's
some
really
of them are
about a
good.
test of metal.
Well, some
And
of
I
them
don't mean
are not
heavy.
necessarily just a test. Some of them are tests. All like you're taking multiple tests.
Oh yeah, you're in
know
multiple
what I mean?
subjects, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. You're testing and you're doing state tests like you did in school.
Right. And they don't give you bathroom breaks. You know.
No.
No.
It's like a fucking 4-hour exam that's like drawn out to who knows how long and whatnot. And then, of course, there's the approach to the Inmost cave. And that's where the shadow really lives. That's where Darth Vader is. Don't go in there. Don't go in there, Luke.
But is it really Darth Vader?
Yeah, I don't know. You'll have to watch the movie and find it.
That's funny. But yeah, that's the circle of the journey right there.
Yeah, you enter the cave, man. And, our caves hold a lot of knowledge for us. But it's just a matter of whether you wanna go on an archaeological dig, whether you want to excavate those wrecks, man, and move those rocks. Because let me tell you, you're gonna find worms under there. You're gonna find slugs. You're gonna find snakes.
I feel like I've only found worms and snakes. Like it's kind of hard to find like that piece where you can go, oh, okay, like I can use this later. I can
Yeah,
clean
but
it
you
up.
know what you can do with a worm? You can put it on a hook and shove it in the water and catch a fish with it. So is it really? Oh, a little nugget bomb!
And that's, ladies and gentlemen, why he's called the Curator of Hope. He just proved it here on Above Ground Podcast. Will Foley.
Yeah, ooh, yay.
Come on, that was your moment right there,
That
man.
was my moment,
The light shine down, you know?
Yeah, I'm not good at accepting moments. I'm not good at accepting the positives.
Well,
Because they're just fleeting. I can't hold on to them. Like, that's
probably good, though, because I think if you hold on to them, I think you're more susceptible to hold on to the negatives. Like, you can't accept one and not the other. Can you?
Yeah, I can hold on to the negatives a lot easier, man. They're a lot easier to grip. They're squishy. The negatives, I can dig right in. My claws just get right in there.
Because you believe them more?
Yeah, I think so. And and again, with no self, and it sucks.
I'm just saying in my head, I'm going, God, it sucks.
It does. It sucks because
we gotta
and you know this, I have a hard time taking compliments.
Yeah.
I just don't like.
No, I do too. Yeah.
And I always thought that was a positive because that means if you can't accept a compliment, then you can't get caught up in the compliment. So you can't believe your own bullshit.
Yeah, I think there's some truth to that, though.
There might be, but I don't think I think
just
that
take it
it
to the
works to a
extreme.
negative. Yeah. Well, hey, there's no moderation here.
No.
It's right to it's one pole to the other, baby. There's no in betweens. It's like so. I'm reluctant to accept a compliment because it's very hard to.
Right.
They're very hard to buy into.
Sure.
And that's a cave that I just, I've moved stuff around to say, really? Because here's the thing, like, I wasn't treated that bad that nothing good ever happened or that people didn't say good things to me and stuff. But it's just that the negative part of my undeveloped brain that
Seems to stand out
that
more.
witnessed things and internalized them as his fault or because of him, then it and obviously if you have a susceptibility to negativity as opposed to positivity, then it's hard to accept positivity.
Sure, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah. No, I agree.
And then after that cave dwelling, man, after that cave dwelling comes the ordeal. And the ordeal is the big piece of the pie.
Pie.
Pie, root beer. Pie and root beer.
Pea soup.
No pea soup.
All right, well, I will say this. I hope the road rises to meet you. May the wind be at your back and the sunshine warm on your face. That's what I'll say to you.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm that kind of guy.
Wow.
That's what struggle buddies do.
That's what struggle buddies do. They lift each other up.
That's right.
They dust each other off. They're honest.
Yeah. Sometimes they push each other down a little bit just to, a little wake-up call.
Well, sometimes you got to push each other down the
Right.
stairs once in a while. And then you go down the stairs and you go, how'd that fuck feel? And then you're like, okay, let's go back up. Let's
All right,
go
I think
have a
Will's
drink.
enjoying this a little bit too much. On that note, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you can subscribe if you're listening to Apple. You can rate it, and you can
You could be a hero.
You can be a hero. You can be a hero and leave a message. If you leave us not a message, a review.
A review. And you know what review is for us? It's us seizing the sword, which is the next step in the journey, man.
Sorry.
It's seizing the sword. It's the reward.
I didn't realize there was another one.
There's 3 more.
Well, all right.
And besides, it hasn't really
All
been.
right. All right. Okay. I
you
didn't
know.
All right.
And then
What's
after
after
we
seizing
seize
the
the
sword?
sword, we have the road back. See, we're
Right,
heading
'cause
back.
it's gotta go back.
It's got to come back.
All right. You're right.
It's got to come back. And then
So, do you carry the sword when you go back?
yes.
Do you carry your sword on the back when you go back?
I'm not sure about that, actually. I think that sword is pretty goddamn heavy, so it might bend me over. You know what I mean? It might buckle my back
You know what?
over.
Also, sometimes a crown is heavy too.
Crown is heavy. Crown of lies, crown of thorns. Crown of thorns is very heavy.
Yeah.
And then after
Is what?
the road back is the resurrection.
The resurrection.
The resurrection, and then the return with the elixir.
Return with the elixir.
Yeah.
So is that sort of
That's when our hero has his triumphant homecoming. So if you look at our journey, just look at it from those standpoints, we started the journey. We were reluctant to start it. We've had some trials and tribulations, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then we come back, and then we've garnered all this knowledge, and now we're just passing it on.
correct?
So, and we're constantly always garnering knowledge, and that's part of being, and I think that's really truly part of being a hero, is that you go through something. Like I know we've said it, and I say it. You come through something, you have a mandate put on your birth certificate or whatever it is you want to put it on, that you have to pass it on.
Correct.
And I've learned this too, man. And I realize this like when I look at some of the people that I've had in my life. And when I was taking voice lessons in high school, my voice teacher didn't take a dime for lessons. Like, I didn't pay for my lessons. And he never asked for anything in return, ever, really, except
he
was
playing the role of mentor.
right. He was, and he was playing the role of mentor for several of us.
He wanted to pass the sword.
He did.
along.
He wanted to pass the sword, man. And it's like, and I realized that as I've gotten older, that you need to pass the torch on, man. That's the only way. That
Absolutely.
anything is worth.
Absolutely.
That's the only way
I
that
agree.
anything that you go through is worth anything, is to pass it on.
Sure. And you can't. That's the thing. You can't sit there and go, "Oh, this person is, there'll never be another one because look what they did." It's like, well, they're probably going to pass the torch on. So what? You know what I mean? Like,
The good ones pass the torch on.
I would like to think, yeah. I mean, they got to pass that on. It's got to live on. And you know what? Hell, if the bad ones don't pass the torch on, then grab some freaking wood and carve your own. Light it on fire and carry that shit.
Well, I think some of the bad ones, and again, I mean, what's good, what's bad.
True.
I mean, outside of the normal stuff. But again,
I just meant,
as we've learned,
in relation to passing it on, that's kind of what I was going by as far as the good or bad.
well, I mean, look at the stuff that we get passed on to us, man. We get passed on trauma because if our caregivers don't know any better,
Right.
then unless you put a stop to it and you learn better, then you can't. So you can pass shit on, but that doesn't mean it's going to be
Right.
That doesn't mean it's going to be worth anything. You know what I mean? So be
Right.
careful as to what you pass on.
And
And if
at
you're
the
not ready to pass things on, then you have some work to do.
But if you're not ready to accept that sword either, you have to be mindful. Both parties have to be mindful. Like you have to be mindful accepting the sword and going, look at it and be like, whoa, this is forged in fire, or it's got some cracks, or it's got some shards loose. Maybe like I need to bang it a few times with a metal mallet or something. However they do it to make it more strong, right?
As long as you don't burn down a whole block of houses doing it.
It's happened.
It has happened, which is pretty damn sad.
Yeah, well, sometimes.
Live and you learn, I guess.
Yes.
I guess we don't try to recreate A&E
Sometimes when you're on that trial, you spill the elixir.
Yeah, you spill the elixir and it lights the block on fire. Not funny. Not funny
it's not
whatsoever.
funny.
But, unfortunately, that happened someplace close by us that, the reluctant hero was not a hero that day.
No. Nope.
How are you approaching your journey? What is your hero's journey out there? What are you facing that you've not quite committed to saying? Like, what is it that you need to go through to become the better you, man? And it's not about the best you. I don't think that you can ever reach a pinnacle of being the best you. Like all this self-help shit is good. Don't get me wrong. There's benefit to it, but it's like, if you keep constantly saying that you gotta be a better you, then that kind of means that you're a shitty you, right?
No, I don't know about that. I get what you're saying though, for sure, but it just means that you could be a good version of you. You just wanted to tune it up a little bit more. You wanted to buy that EQ and just tweak it and make it a little bit better. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I like that.
But I get what you're saying. It's because then you get into the other side of it too. If someone says, "Well, I'm good. I don't need to better myself," and they may have some, unhealed stuff going on. And
I think we all have unhealed stuff going on.
Right, but what I'm saying is, but they're kind of reluctant to therapy or whatever it may be,
Yeah, reluctance is a bitter pill. In a lot of ways, I think. If you really like what you're hearing, you can benefit the show by donating. You can donate at paypal.me/abovegroundpodcast. And we're grateful to everybody that's been donating. And don't forget also, man, get your t-shirts and hoodies. Close Knit Company, our friends Dan and Natalie busting their asses down there in that beautiful sunset. Screen printing some really cool tees, crops, hoodies, tanks. They got some cool shit, man.
Thank you to everybody that has purchased some of our merchandise, whether it be a shirt or a hoodie. We appreciate it, as well as the people who have reached out and either supported us through the GoFundMe, Venmo, whatever, PayPal, whatever.
.me. Yeah, there's no GoFundMe.
I don't know what it is. Will does.
Timmy fell down the stairs.
I'm getting hot flashes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the PayPal.me.
But we appreciate it. That's what I was trying to say.
We do. We really do appreciate it, man. And we're coming up. We're coming up quickly on the century mark, which shit, when we started this, I had only dreamt of what doing 100 episodes was going to be like.
I remember you said like we got to get 7. If we pass like 7, we should be all right.
7 is a big is a big
No,
is a
I know,
big mark
I know.
in podcast world.
But we
I
did.
guess 100 is too. Like it's pretty hard to get to 100 episodes, man.
If we had 100, imagine if we had 100 listeners, that would be cool. For 100 episode, that's what we challenge everybody to share it 100 times.
That's right. We challenge everybody to share it with a friend, and then have that friend share it with a friend, because we have been growing. The downloads are definitely growing every month, which is good. But I'd like to get it to 5,000 downloads. So you got to help us out here. And the only way to get it is for you guys to share it. And you can find it everywhere. You can find it on Spotify, on Google, on Apple, on YouTube, on iHeart. So please, help us out. I got to look into a couple other platforms too. But, maybe after the 100.
Maybe.
We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But
as always,
until next time,
be well.
Be safe.
Be above.